a goal I never imagined achieving so quickly. I moved from Cuba 3 years ago and have already bought my own apartment. Today I'll show it to you and share the cost. I'm so happy and well, I'm really excited to make this video. I dedicated a lot of time to tell you everything properly. So well, lights, camera, action. I finally get to show you my house in Spain and tell you all about it. How much it cost me, how I did it, and finally the house tour I was eagerly awaiting. But let's start at the beginning. I don't like to act like I'm all about self-improvement or that I've struggled the most, but well, I'm just going to show you a little bit of my progress. I began in Cuba creating videos about my life there. This was my little house, my family's little house, a house that, by the way, my mom already sold. It doesn't belong to us anymore. And I showed you several things like that, and that's how many of you got to know me until one day I left Cuba. I looked for a new home, a better future, and fate brought me here, to Galicia, to Spain, and everything started to change. My life in Spain has honestly been better than I imagined. I've had tough moments, sad moments when I wanted to give up, but I've always tried to move forward. For myself, my family, and all I couldn't achieve in my country, this country has given me the chance to do so. Even when I'm sad, I look back and think, wow, I've achieved so much. Now I even have an apartment, which I never expected. And well, yes, it's time to really tell you everything because honestly, I've been putting this off for quite a while, but I wanted to have the perfect video and the perfect moment to tell you. This whole year, I made a lot of sacrifices, but all with the purpose of having my own home. Because thanks to my work, several opportunities came up for me. And that's how I was able to find this opportunity to have a little house. I've mentioned my television jobs before and I saved nearly all my YouTube earnings. I tried not to waste money. Last year I wasted a lot, but this year I said there are priorities and I also made sacrifices. Not seeing my family and not going to Cuba this year is something that made me really sad. Sometimes we must realize we need to prioritize ourselves. Not always living in the past. I think that going to Cuba, always thinking about Cuba. It's true that we have our family there and we want to be with them, help them and all that, but that makes us constantly live in the past and maybe not. Moving forward here is the way I think, and to move forward here, you have to integrate here and look out for your future here in this country. How to seize life's opportunities here. So I sacrificed staying here and decided not to go to Cuba and save that money for my future to buy my own house. Will I eventually be able to help my family or return to Cuba in the future? But the truth is that it was a year when I said this year is going to be about important things. I'm going to try to prioritize myself to achieve important things. Owning a house is a dream for many, but it's often difficult and can take a long time to achieve. Life costs a lot, but not me. But I think that life put me here in Galicia and gave me many beautiful opportunities, and I am very happy because of that. I live in an affordable town in Galicia, as I mentioned before. Towns so far aren't expensive places with high rent. That allows you to maybe save a little more than if you live in a big city. What's the downside? That maybe you don't find much work? But I work from home, so for me, living here in a town works well for now. I said I'm not leaving. I considered moving to Coruña or the city, but also in January. It was a year when I had a lot on my mind and I kept thinking, should I move? Should I not move? Then I said, well, I'm not going to stay. I'm going to save because here in my apartment I only pay 430 euros and I can save up to maybe buy my own place. Paying rent to someone else isn't the same as making mortgage payments towards something you'll eventually own. Let's be realistic. When I said I'd buy a house, I didn't actually have the money for it. Here in Spain, there's the possibility of getting a mortgage. A mortgage is a loan from the bank. I think that exists in almost every country. It's just that since I came from Cuba, I didn't know about these things. Because I think in Cuba, nothing works the same as in the rest of the world. I had no idea. I don't think Cuba even lends money to buy a house. I honestly don't know, but here in Spain, I started to look into it a little more and I said, well, yes, I'm going to buy my house. I'm going to find out how all this mortgage stuff works. I know there was a possibility that they could even lend you up to 100%. It's just that I'm not going for the full 100. I had some savings, so the interest rates were a bit higher. I tried asking for 80 to 90% and visited some banks. I just didn't realize you also had to pay taxes on top of the money needed for the house. So 80% wasn't convenient for me anymore, so I decided to go for 90 so I wouldn't be left with nothing, without a single euro. So I asked, like I already told you in this video, I talked about mortgages and which bank approved my mortgage. I went to nearly every bank and requested 80% at some, 90% at others. For example, I got approved for 80% but not for 90% even though they said they'd give me 90%. If I was Spanish, if I had the Documento Nacional de Identidad, that's what they told me. I'm not sure if that's why I was denied the mortgage, but I decided to apply elsewhere and went to Banco Sabadell, which approved me for a 90% mortgage. The more money they lend you, the higher the interest rates are in the long run. But well, it doesn't matter. It's a possibility to have your own little house at some point. Therefore, I accepted the 90% mortgage and paid 90% of my house plus all the interest, which is almost like a good amount of extra money. It's almost like the same as what you have saved, the 10% double, something like that. So it's not just the 10%, there are little things you have to pay for. I mean, I'll tell you later when I show you my little house, because today I really am going to show it to you. I'll show you everything. I'll show you how much I paid in interest, how much I paid for everything. I don't have any filters here. I tell you all the reality. I've never understood not sharing how much I paid after buying something. So what about Sabadell Bank? They were so kind, it truly surprised me. In Spain, they explained everything. Look at this. These are the interests. This is what you have to pay. This is what you have to do. These are the steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first thing is to get your apartment appraised. And well, I'll tell you about that when I show you the apartment there in my place. Now I want to tell you how life turned around and the apartment I chose. You're going to say, Anita, but you just said what house did you buy? You'll be surprised by the house I got. When the bank finally gave me the 90% loan, I said, let's go house hunting. Actually, that's not true. The bank grants the loan after you have the house, since that's what they finance. Obviously, first of all, I decided on the house, I decided on the apartment, I searched, I went to several real estate agencies. You actually saw a video of me looking at different apartments because I contacted this real estate agency. They offered me a collaboration as well, so I worked with them because it was also a collaboration. And they told me, we're going to show you 3 different apartments. What's your budget? What are you looking for? I said I'm looking for something under 100,000 euros, ideally between 80,000 and 90,000 euros. They didn't have anything in that price range. They had more expensive options. Honestly, it wasn't convenient for me because I couldn't afford it. I said maybe I won't take an apartment, but we can still collaborate and I can consider the options. I'm creating an informational video for my followers about local house prices. In Cuba, we call apartments piso, while here, piso means apartment and casa means house. So you don't have neighbors above or below. It's a piso. It's like buildings, like these buildings you see here, and well, I went to see those houses, but honestly, I didn't choose any of them. I continued my search and decided to go with an apartment because they're more affordable. And I had 3 options. My ideal apartment needed certain features. First, I wanted to stay in Carvalho, the town I've grown fond of and where I feel I belong. I know this place and its people. I know the girl from a real estate agency here. I know the one from the store. I know neighbors who greet me. I know people, and I have my closest friends here. Also, my friend who helped me come to Spain, and other friends who have come to live here. I don't want to leave here because going to another little town in Galicia where I don't know anyone, I don't know, it wasn't an option because if we've already emigrated and we're already integrating, it's more comfortable to stay integrated and feel more at ease in the place where you are. So I decided that I'm going to stay here in Carvalho. I'm not going to go to Lache or to Malpica or anywhere else where I'd have to start from scratch because I've already started from scratch many times and honestly I feel very comfortable here. One option was to stay in Carvalho. Option number 2 was for it to be an apartment because I can't have a house on the outskirts. There are many little houses in the villages here in Galicia that are very well priced, but I didn't want that because for that you need to have a car. And I made the big mistake of not getting my license yet, something I'm very sorry and very embarrassed about because I should have already gotten my license. So I said, look, I can't move to a house, like for example, a friend of mine, my best friend lives in a house in a village. She bought it at a very affordable price, but it needed to be completely renovated. I said, this is an option, it's very affordable, but you have to spend some money to renovate it. But I can't move there because I don't have a car, so living in a remote village would keep me from going out. Until I get my license, it's best I stay here in the city where I'm connected. where I can walk, where I can go to the supermarket, where I can do my things without depending on a car until I get my license because I have to get it sooner or later. And what about option number 3? Something that was within my budget. My budget was from 60,000 up to 100,000, 60,000, 100,000 more. Not less than that, and definitely not below that. It's impossible to find anything, honestly. So I started looking for a lot of apartments within that price range on different search platforms. Idealista, Fotocasa, Mil Anuncios, visiting agencies. There are a lot of options which I've already explained in previous videos, so just scroll down if you want to find out everything I've explained in the previous videos. So I started looking for apartments that were in that price range. What happened? Most of the ones that were really cheap needed too many renovations, too many things, they were practically destroyed. I saw an apartment on Idealista for 60,000 euros and thought, wow, that's so cheap, I can afford it. But it was destroyed, it needed to be completely renovated. So life took a turn and I said, this is a sign from destiny and you can't imagine what happened. Well, I'm going to pick up this picnic I set up here while I was telling you the story because it looks like it's starting to rain and everything is going to get wet here. It all happened about a year ago. My landlord, the person who rents the apartment to me, told me that he wanted to sell the apartment. So I got pretty worried because I thought, should I move out? That's why I considered moving out and leaving that apartment at the start of the year. So what if he sold it and I ended up evicted or left? Like, now where do I live? But it never crossed my mind to keep that apartment because I said, oh, I don't want to live in the same place forever. Sometimes you think, I don't want to stay here forever. I want change, to see new places, move, and experience something different. Although I've been someone who has moved a lot my whole life and I've always been in different places. And I think I felt like I needed to be in one place to have some stability for a few years and not be moving around so much. Because it also makes you start over repeatedly, which can be frustrating. I hate moving and yet I've moved a lot throughout my life. I said, fine, let him sell the apartment, I'll just go elsewhere. I have to get familiar with new apartments, houses, and things. But whenever I look for a new place, my friend Tai tells me, don't you remember your landlord said he wanted to sell the apartment? Why not just keep it? It's already an apartment. You've lived in it for 2 years and it's newly renovated. Because when I took that apartment, it was newly renovated because the previous tenants destroyed it. So he completely renovated it and rented it to me. I mean, the apartment is new. And then my friend tells me, ask him how much he's going to sell the apartment for. Maybe it's in your price range and you can keep that apartment. And I said, I've looked at other apartments and honestly, they're in my price range. But there are many renovations, so I'll have to spend money either way. Plus, I don't know these houses. Either way, with this apartment, I've already been living in it for over 2 years. I know it. It doesn't have any problems. It's a perfect apartment. It's a beautiful apartment. It's an apartment where I feel comfortable. And I said, you know what? I'll talk to my landlord and see what he says. I have nothing to lose and a lot to gain, so I'll keep sharing the story. I'm moving from here. I remember that on one of the 5th days, though I can't recall if it was April or May, I asked the landlord how much he would sell the apartment for, since I was also exploring options. And he told me the price, and guess what? It was within my price range. And he said he'd leave everything inside except for a heater that he wanted. Do you know what that means? They offered me a new fully furnished apartment in my price range. Then he asked, anything else? It has a storage room that I haven't shown you. I'm going to give you the key so you can see it. And it had a storage room where I can keep my things. My love. So, guess what Anita did? Guess what Anita did? Well, yes, I ended up with the same apartment she was in. Maybe that's what you all expected from Anita. I thought it was another house, that you were going to stay in another house. With all those beautiful, gorgeous houses you showed. They didn't meet my requirements, but I wanted to show them to you anyway. I saw them, but they weren't in her price range. There weren't any apartments in Carvalho, which I wanted, so I've stayed in the same one since I arrived. Yes, it met all my needs, I was very fond of it, and well, that's it. I had my apartment, I stayed in the same apartment. You've noticed I haven't moved or changed apartments, even though I've made this video about the apartment and buying a house, and you might be thinking the same thing. It's a lie because she's still living in the same place. Well, that's right, because I bought the same apartment I've been living in all this time and I did all the paperwork with my own apartment. And well, now I'm going to tell you how much everything cost me, but I'll also give you a little house tour because my apartment has changed a lot. Since the first house tour I did 3 years ago, which is this one, my apartment has changed a lot. I've done a lot of renovations, a lot of new things. And I also want to tell you about things I want to change because now the apartment is mine. It's already bought. I'll show you the entire process of my purchase and sale. So no, I recorded everything when I went to sign and all that. I was super nervous. I was just going with the flow. What are you doing, Rialto? Good morning. I'm up early today. Today is the signing of the preliminary deed, which I think is like signing the same thing I'll sign the day I actually buy the apartment. But it's kind of like going to rehearse it first. That's what it's called, signing the preliminary deed. I have no idea how this works, but it makes me laugh since I'm just going with the flow. Luckily, I'm handling the paperwork for the purchase and sale with someone. A real estate agent is involved at the center of it. And she's kind of guiding me and telling me how to do things because I have no idea about any of this. There's so much paperwork, so many documents, and I don't know anything. Am I really going to dress up just to sign the preliminary certificate? I don't know what kind of clothes you're supposed to wear to go buy your apartment, but I guess a blazer like this is fine because it's elegant. I'm going to put on some makeup and leave now since I'm late. I have to get to the real estate agency in 5 minutes. That day I went by myself and I had to read something. They explained everything clearly, including data protection or something similar. Honestly, I didn't understand much, but I'm really grateful that they explained every step and everything to me so I wouldn't be lost. Well, I just finished the signing and I'm going to tell you more or less everything I learned. I'll tell you more or less. So how was everything they explained to you? Because if you're like me, you have no idea how this whole thing works. So maybe this will help you to more or less know. Well, basically, this is a pre-signing, which is kind of like a rehearsal where they're going to explain everything to you so that you're aware and know everything. Some people do this without even reading the papers they sign. When you apply for a mortgage, you sign many documents at the bank, but is that considered a digital signature? I'm sure a lot of people don't read carefully, they don't read the fine print. So in this meeting, what they did was explain the fine print to me. They explained those little bad things that maybe I had no idea about. I already know the good and the bad, the good part at least. They're going to give you a loan. They explain how much money they're going to lend you, for how many years. In my case, well, it's for 30 years. The interest rate is the amount you'll eventually pay the bank. The bank is going to come out ahead, and over the years, you'll end up paying more than what the apartment costs, which is the interest, and that's how the bank makes money, of course. So they explained to me that the first year there's an interest rate of 4, which is already quite high. They told me that a good interest rate was between 2.5 and 3.5. The banks I visited offered higher rates. This bank offers a 4% rate for a 90% mortgage over 30 years. And well, I accepted it because it's the way to have my house. It's okay. So the first year I would pay that 4% interest in each monthly payment, and the second year it would go up to 5%. But if I want the interest to drop to 4% again, I have to get some services with them so they lower it for me, like for example, bringing my payroll, that kind of thing, getting life insurance. That kind of thing. Well, the bank explains all of that to you. When you go to get the mortgage, they explain everything to you, all the services they offer you so that your interest rate doesn't go up, so it stays the same. So to speak, I'm giving the best explanation I can because I'm learning this here at the same time while I'm recording now. They also explain the consequences, like what happens if you don't pay. There's a deadline if you miss a payment. Each bank is different, and the notary would explain those details. I'm explaining now, but you likely have more experience. I know that a lot of people from Spain watch me here, and I'm sure they have their houses, their mortgages, their properties, and their things there. Give me some advice and tell me what you think. If you stop paying because something happens to you, there are several things that could happen. First, you have a deadline. They can't, for example, if you stop paying for a month, they can't take your house, they can't seize it, right? How would you say, take it away from you? So you have to go, I think, at least 12 months without paying before the bank can take any action. What could it be? One, it's that they auction your apartment, like they auction it to the highest bidder and someone else gets your apartment. I'm not sure what else. Also, you sell your apartment and pay off your debt to the bank. I don't know, there were a lot of things they explained to me in this area. Another thing was that maybe if I take too long to pay, they'll charge me a 3% fee. I think they just charge me a bit more later when I can pay. And another thing they explained to me is that they can take you to court. to the courts. In case I don't pay, it's a whole mess. In case you can't pay, you can also negotiate with the bank. You can tell them, no, I need some time. You can always talk and see what options you have so you don't get yourself into trouble. It's like the fine print you might not read or they don't explain. What if you can't pay? No, but well, let's trust that you'll be able to pay, and well, that's it. In the test I showed you, it's essentially a knowledge test covering all aspects of the mortgage. I would be paying the same amount the first year, and then the second year when the interest goes up to 5, I'll pay a little bit more. So in a week, I have to go back, and it would be easier because I would just sign the purchase and sale agreement. I have to come with my landlord, the owner of my apartment, so we can sign the purchase and sale agreement, and the apartment will be mine. I don't know if they'll give me the property at that moment. I don't think so. I think the property title comes to your house a little bit later. And well, here I am, excited today. I learned a lot because they explained things I didn't know, which is true. I signed things without reading the fine print. Maybe don't do that. He also told me that years ago, a few years back, they didn't explain all these things in such detail to some notaries. He explained everything to me, pointing out the good, bad, and worst parts, saying, just so you know, and me, like, okay. And I love the way he explained it to me because I feel like I gained new knowledge. Now I can also explain it to you all, and I can talk about this real estate topic with more foundation, with more knowledge. I feel like an adult, responsible, and entrepreneurial. Well, yes, it's already happened. You saw the previous video on the 3rd, and today is the 9th. The 10 days that are supposed to pass have already gone by, like 10 days for you to think or something like that. I can't recall the name, but it's a 10-day reflection period before you decide to move forward. I'm moving forward with this decision, and I'm really happy because I'm signing today. It's just that I don't want to get too excited because I don't like to exaggerate and get all super emotional. I'm pretty calm, but honestly, I'm excited. I've been so stressed for so long, waiting and waiting for this process to end. And finally, today it's going to happen. Today it's going to happen. Alright, that's how I look. That's the outfit I'm going with. The clothes are really elegant. I changed 3 times because I wasn't sure what to wear. The glasses aren't needed since it's cloudy, but I still like them. Phoebe, today I'm buying land for you to inherit, my dear. Yay. I officially have my apartment now. Everything's signed and done. Here are the papers they gave me. The landlord gave me the deed, and over here they gave me the deed. Same for the purchase and sale. Here are the deeds which state deed of purchase and sale. On one side, the owner who is of legal age, and on the other side, Ms. Anita Mateo, a self-employed person in the audiovisual sector, also of legal age. I have my apartment. The official deed lists it under my name. It would happen, well, in a few months. You have to do all that paperwork, that stuff, because it's too much paperwork. But, well, the apartment is already in my name. Now I have a few other things to do, other responsibilities that I'll probably take care of too. Another video about all the responsibilities that come with owning an apartment in Spain. That's for another video. This one's just about the happy part, okay? I already have an apartment. We already have an apartment. My love, your land that you're going to inherit. She's less happy than I am. She just wants her daily walk. I'm giving you the usual tour of my apartment. Nothing's changed, but now I'm the owner, not a tenant. My little apartment remains the same. There are several things I've changed, honestly, but this is still the same. I mean, this piece of furniture, all the furniture stayed with me, they're mine, except for one heater. The sofa is new. I mean, it's not the same one I had when I got the apartment. It was a different sofa. I replaced it and bought this one at IKEA on sale. And I also changed these little tables and I put those covers on them because of Phoebe's hair. Honestly, this was my first room, but then I moved to the other one. The room, as you can see, is occupied because I have guests, and I'm going to show you, well, my room is the biggest one. I don't know if you saw a few days ago that I was sleeping on the floor, and that was because I changed the bed. I mean, the bed was defective, and since it was mine, I changed it. I bought myself a new bed. That's another good thing about having your own place now, is that everything is yours. I didn't want to renovate anything without being sure the place was going to be mine. the dresser. I still have to fix it. I mean, I want to change all of this. I want to change the furniture for something in white or beige, like this part. I have my fan, I have heating in the room, I have the dresser, I have the closet, I have this wardrobe here where I put my coats. I want to change all of this. Sir, honestly, give me recommendations on which color matches best because I don't like that one. Maybe you'll see it, or maybe I'll give it to someone who needs it. I might sell it, but I want to change the nightstands, the wardrobe, and this dresser, all of that. I want new things, but of course, all of that little by little. When I can and have the budget, but after buying the apartment, my budget isn't great, honestly. Here is the study room. This is the room for work, so to speak, in my study room. I bought this hanger myself, along with everything else in the room. It's all mine, 100% purchased by me. The mirror and dresser weren't included with the apartment. About the makeup stuff, the bathroom is small, it has a shower, but it's very nice. Here I have my makeup things, a bit messy, so to speak. This is very important in winter. It's a heater because here in winter it gets cold and sometimes you don't want to take your clothes off. So yes, everything in the bathroom is mine now because I already bought it. I used to have a black cabinet here, but I changed it for a white one, and I made this little picture myself to use as decoration. Above the toilet, let me put the lid down. I give you the bathroom tour. The kitchen is very pretty. Honestly, I love my kitchen. The only thing I don't like and want to change is the table. Honestly, I don't like this orange table. I'm not really fond of it, and well, that's it. This is my little kitchen. I love the kitchen and think the floor is pretty. Since moving here, I fell in love with this floor and have gradually made it my home, just how I like it. And finally, the little terrace, and here is the laundry room. Honestly, something I want to do is put the dryer on top of the washing machine like a lot of people do. I don't know how to do it or have the strength. I need help, okay? Now I'll show you the storage room. I didn't know about it until the landlord showed it to me when he sold me the apartment since it would be mine. It's part of the apartment. It's on the top floor because the storage room belongs to all the tenants in the building. It has several doors and one of the doors is mine. So I can go up and store things, and I already have a few things I've kept there, and that's it. Well, this would be the storage room. Here it is, and here's part of the bed that I've already taken apart. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it because it's kind of broken. I don't know if I should sell it. This is nice. It's like a little attic. There are boards and things that it looks like the landlord left when he renovated. But anyway, he left me all of this, even construction materials. There's the old television, and these are other tables and other things. And here it has, well, a nice little roof. It's been a bit cloudy until today, honestly. And well, I have this whole attic for myself so I can store whatever I need. Time to tell you how much the apartment cost and all the details, which I'm sure you're here to find out. This is the paper the bank gave me when I did the mortgage simulation with the price. With all that, the price of my apartment that I bought in Galicia is 83,000 euros. You might think, wow, that's cheap, but well, yes, those are the prices in the villages here, obviously. Well, I asked for 90, so you figured that I had to have the other 10, right? All the taxes you have to pay, which aren't few, honestly, you do the math. The bank lent me 90 and I have fixed rate mortgage. Always request a fixed rate mortgage to ensure your monthly payments stay the same, unlike a variable rate mortgage. Well, I don't know, that's not what they recommended to me. My advice is that you ask for a fixed rate mortgage. As soon as you do this, the first thing they do is then they go and make you do it. The appraisal is when someone comes and looks at the apartment and gives it a value, like the actual market value of this apartment. And what works best for you is that the value comes out higher than the price you're going to pay for it, so the bank will lend you the money you need. In that case, my apartment was appraised at 85,000 euros, 2,000 euros more than I planned to pay. So everything went well, and the bank told me yes, that they were going to give me the mortgage, approve the mortgage. Now you can pay in advance. You might think, what if I have the money to pay ahead and not have to pay every month? Can you do that? In the bank contract, they told me yes, that I could pay in advance and pay off that debt without any kind of interest. Your apartment already. Well, to pay it off completely, it was with interest, but to pay it off partially, it was without interest for the house property. It takes some time for my name to be updated. I got the paper, but still had to change a lot of things to my name. I think this is a topic that's way too long and there are too many things I didn't know, and I'll be telling you about them in upcoming videos. Just letting you know, you can do this too if you save a bit and get a down payment from the bank. I'm not saying you can do it in downtown Madrid where housing is expensive. We need to be realistic and consider our options. I had the possibility of getting a relatively cheap apartment in a village in Galicia. I couldn't buy a house on the outskirts or anything like that. I don't think they see me as special because of this either. I don't think I am. I worked hard, saved, stayed focused, and just as I did it, many others have too. I know many people here in Spain who bought their apartments with mortgages. It's really nice to have that possibility to dream because I never imagined it would happen. I mean, I'm here now and my perspective has changed. Now I know this isn't my rent. Now I know this is my home. My little house, which I came to from Galicia and care for deeply, is now mine and I feel I belong. With this little house that I want to take care of, I want to make it beautiful, I want to make it my own, and I don't know. I also have to interact with the neighbors because there's something called community, which, well, I'll explain all of that to you later. Like I said, I can't tell you everything. I also need to say I kept this secret for a long time because that's just who I am. I mean, not even my mom knew. My mom found out when I bought the apartment. I would just tell her like, I'm not dealing with the bank yet, but I still don't know what's going on. This was so stressful. I didn't want people constantly asking about the apartment or what I did. I kept to myself, stayed quiet, and did my paperwork alone. And when the apartment was finally mine, I told my mom, my family, I already bought the apartment, and they were like, what the fuck? Anna Laura, but you don't tell us things? Yes, I tell everything at the last moment. You all find out a long time after, but I just like to do things privately. Little by little, so everything goes smoothly and isn't overwhelming, since just doing this is stressful. Having many people asking questions adds even more stress. But anyway, I'm so happy. I mean, right now I'm here in my house in Spain. It's mine. I can do whatever I want. I can even rent it out, move. I have several options and I don't want to stay here in the future. Can I sell it? A house, a property is something that relatively almost never loses value. Houses go up all the time. I think it's a good investment. That for me it was a good decision and I was so happy the day I signed. I was nervous, but inside I thought, wow, I'm making such an important step and I don't even realize it. And I was so eager to share it with my family, that they would find out, that they would be proud of me, that they would see everything, and also you all, so you can see that it really is possible. It is possible to have your own house, your own little apartment if you work hard, if you save a little, and well, that's it. I wanted to make this video for you earlier, but I wanted it to be motivating and show you it's truly possible. I hope you're happy for me. I'm really happy, honestly, for what I've achieved this year. I still have many goals to achieve, so many things I want to do. But honestly, I'm very proud of what I've accomplished so far. Because it's been such a short time, I mean only 3 years since I've been here in Spain. I took this opportunity thanks to my work, thanks to many things that came my way. I know that not everyone has the same opportunities, but sooner or later, if you focus, many people can achieve it if you prioritize the important things. And well, that's it. This is a video that I'm really excited about. Could we say it's the most important video on this channel in 2025? Today, it's Anita with her own little house. Yes, I can say it. I own a house in Spain. I have property. And well, that's it. Subscribe, give it a like because there are a lot of interesting videos coming where I'll be explaining things to you. So many more things about my whole life as a homeowner and, well, my life in Spain, which will keep moving forward. We'll keep doing little things, so I send you a big kiss and thank you for being here with me these 3 years in Spain. To everyone who's been with me since Cuba, when I had nothing, I send a big kiss and lots of love. Bye-bye.